Have you ever stopped to think about the one thing that makes all life on our planet possible? Well, it's this incredible, invisible shield that's hundreds of kilometers thick. Today, we're going to take a journey straight up, right through that shield, to really understand the layers of our atmosphere.
I mean, think about it. Of all the planets we know of, what is it that makes Earth so special? What is it that allows for all this incredible life we see everywhere? It's a massive question, right? But the answer? It isn't somewhere out in the cosmos. It's literally right above your head.
Yep, you guessed it. The answer is the atmosphere. It's this huge, unseen blanket of air that does so much more than just let us breathe. It protects us, it keeps us warm, and it basically creates the very world we live in. It is our planet's ultimate life support system.
So, what is this thing exactly? Well, the atmosphere is this layer of gases that just wraps around our planet. Now, I know it says thin layer, but that's all relative, isn't it? It stretches almost 700 kilometers up from the ground. That is a long way up.
Okay, so our journey is going to start at ground level, right here in the layer we all call home, the troposphere. And believe me, this is where pretty much all of the action happens.
So the troposphere, it only goes up about 15 kilometers, which might not sound like a lot, but it is incredibly dense. It's got almost all of the atmosphere's water vapor and dust packed into it. This is where you find the clouds, the rain, the wind. I mean, literally all of our weather starts right here.
And here in the troposphere, there's this really basic rule that you've probably felt yourself if you've ever climbed a mountain or even just driven up a big hill. As you go up, the air pressure goes down, and so does the temperature. The air gets thinner, and yeah, it gets colder. And look, this real-world data just makes it super clear. Take Sri Lanka, for example. The city of Colombo is basically at sea level, and it's got an average temperature of over 27 degrees Celsius. But if you travel up into the mountains to Nuwara Eliya, which is almost 1,900 meters higher, the temperature plummets to just under 16 degrees. It's a perfect example of that rule in action. Higher up you go, the cooler the air gets.
So what are we actually breathing in all day? Well, it's not just one thing. It is overwhelmingly nitrogen. That's 78% of the air around us. The oxygen, the stuff that's so critical for us to live, that's only about 21%. And that tiny little 1% sliver you see, that's every other gas combined, like argon and carbon dioxide.
You know, each of these gases plays a really critical part in this delicate cycle. We breathe in oxygen to live, and we exhale carbon dioxide. Then, plants take that carbon dioxide and use it for photosynthesis, and what do? They release more oxygen back into the air for us. It's this perfectly balanced system. It's amazing, really.
All right, time to leave our busy home layer behind and keep climbing. We're now moving up into the protective middle layers, and we're going to start with the stratosphere.
Okay, first up, the stratosphere. This is where you find the super important ozone layer. Think of it like planetary sunscreen, soaking up all those harmful UV rays from the sun. And because it's absorbing all that energy, something weird happens. The temperature actually gets warmer the higher you go. Then, as we climb even higher, we hit the mesosphere. This is the coldest layer of them all, with temperatures dropping to a crazy minus 90 degrees Celsius. It is so cold that any water vapor just freezes into these wispy ice clouds. And it's our first line of defense. This is where most meteors burn up into shooting stars.
Wow, we are getting really high now, climbing up to the very top of our atmosphere. We're basically at the final frontier, right before we hit the total vacuum of space.
And now we've reached the thermosphere. Here, the temperature just skyrockets again. The air is unbelievably thin, but the few particles that are here absorb so much intense radiation from the sun. This is where the International Space Station zips around the Earth, and it's where those beautiful auroras dance in the sky. If you go even higher than that, you finally reach the exosphere, the last, thinnest layer that just sort of fades away into the blackness of space.
So, we've journeyed all the way to the edge of space, but now it's time to bring it back down to Earth. Because you see, as much as the atmosphere shapes our world, we are now shaping the atmosphere.
After seeing just how delicate and how vital this whole system is, the next question is a pretty important one. What are the threats? What could possibly put this incredible invisible shield at risk?
The threat has a name we all know: air pollution. And it's pretty simple, really. It's when we add harmful stuff to the air, substances that just don't belong there. It throws that natural balance completely out of whack, and it causes real harm to us and every other living thing on the planet.
And these pollutants, they come in different forms. Some are gases, like carbon monoxide, and others are tiny little particles of soot and dust. But where do they come from? Well, the source is overwhelmingly human, burning fossil fuels in our cars and factories and, just burning our waste. But here's the most important part. We know what to do about it. These aren't some big mystery. The solutions are right there, from simple things like keeping our car engines tuned up, to bigger actions like making sure factories filter their emissions, recycling our waste, and, this one's critical, protecting and planting more forests, which are literally the lungs of our planet.
So let's end with this one crucial idea. The atmosphere doesn't just passively surround our planet, it actively creates our world. It's the system that gives us weather, our climate, that blue sky, and ultimately it's what protects every single living thing on Earth.
And that leaves all of us with one final question to think about. This shield protects every single one of us, which means we all have a stake in protecting it. So, the question is, how will you protect your piece of the sky?